Hello and welcome back, guys. Okay, so let's finish up with the profile page here on the orders system here. So obviously we have the order number and the major details of this order, but we want to be able to see the full details of this order. So what I want to be able to do is when I click on the order itself, and then I get a drop down that's showing me exactly what the details are. Okay, so let's give it a shot here. Let me come back here for a second to my text editor, and I'm in this folder, app views eShop, and then profile.php. This is where we have this table right here, and then where there's table body here, we have this section that loops through the orders. Now what I want to be able to do is to be able to click on this row and then have something drop down here. So what I will do now is to add an on-click listener. So what I will do is go to the class table. Now I could add an on-click listener to each and every row here, but that's not realistic because there could be 100 or 1,000 rows here, so that's not going to be very efficient. What I can do though is to add an on-click listener to the body itself. So I'm going to add here and say on-click on, what did I type here? On-click, like so. So what do I do on the click event? Well, let's create a function called show details. Easy peasy, right? And let me capture the event of this whole thing. So show details event. I'll copy that so I can add it to my JavaScript. So here either I can put the JavaScript before this or after it. So let me try and put it before, something like this. And then I'm simply going to create a function and paste that like so, because that will be the function name. Now instead of me having to type event, I'm just going to put E there. It's easier to type. Right, so what I want to do is to be able to check first what was clicked. So I just want to do an alert here and just say e.target, which is the thing that was clicked, but I want to know its tag name like that. So e.target.tag name. So I want to know whether it's the table, it's the table body, it's the table data or something, whatever it is. So I'll refresh the page and click. So you see now I have clicked on the table data. That's the one right there. So if I click, so it seems anywhere that I click, I'm just clicking on the table data itself. If I click anywhere apart from the body, it doesn't respond, but it does respond in the body here. So which is good. Now I know that regardless how I click, it's the table data. Alrighty then. So pretty cool. So how exactly can we use this information? Okay, so just to tell users that they can actually click on a drop down here, I think I'll put one extra, let me put one extra column here for action. So I'm just going to duplicate this last part and just leave it empty. Maybe I'll put 2-3 dots there instead, and then come down here for table data as well. At the very end, I will duplicate the last table data and then just remove the contents. Oops, what am I doing? So I just want to remove the contents like that so that I have opening table data and closing. And then inside here I want to put, since this template uses font awesome, why not use it? So I'm going to create a class name, and in that class I will say FA for font awesome, and then FA again, hyphen, arrow, I hope I remember this correctly. Hyphen again, down, something like this. That should create an arrow down. There we go. Pretty good. So if I click on that, ooh, I get I. This is not good at all. This is the problem with Font Awesome here, because you have to wrap it into something else, which changes the dynamic of what's going on here. Okay, so never mind that. We're going to fix it. For now, we're just going to deal with table data. So every time I click here, I get TD, except when I click on the I, on the arrow, I get I instead. All right. So what we're going to do here is, I want to tell it that every time I click here, whatever the target is, it should get the parent. So, and the parent of each of these data thingies is the table row, right? This is the parent. So then inside here, I want to find the div that contains all the information that is required, the details. So I think I'll put the details right next to the I here so that I don't have to this is going to be lazy coding, right? So what I will do is, let me leave some space here. So I'm going to drop this down a little bit like this. I think I should have put the table data like that so that it's easier to see what's going on here. So let me do that. Okay, so the last table data is here, then table row there, like so. Let me push all this internal like that. Okay, good. Then here I want to put a div like so. And then this div, I'll give it a class of JS details. Probably order details, just to be very specific. Yeah. And then from there now, let me just type some basic text. These are order details, like so. So let me refresh now. And you see it right there. Okay. So let's do some, let me just get order, or let me put a space here and just say details. So this is another class I'm creating, but that will be used for styling. This one will be used for JavaScript. So I just want to style this baby a little bit. So I'll use details here and come up here to where the styles are. And then I'll do dot details like that. And then what am I going to do now? So let me add a background color of EEE, just so it's slightly different to the other stuff. So then box shadow is going to be 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 10 pixel for the blur, and then the color, I just like that gray. Okay, and then now the width, of course, the width is going to be 100%. But most importantly, the positioning should be absolute, like so. And then let's try a minimum height as well of 100 pixels. So let's see how that looks like. So refresh. And you see the babies over there. Pretty cool. Now let's add a left here. I'm going to say left 0 pixels. Let's come back here for a second. That way it comes all the way here. Now the thing is, it's relative to the whole page, right? Because 0 is here, 0 pixels is here for the page, but I want it relative to the current row that it resides, the table row. So in order to fix that, I have to change the positioning of the table row to relative. So that way, because what it does is here, what's happening is that since the position for this is absolute, it's going to check the parent. If the parent has another position, let's say position relative or position absolute, then it's going to position itself relative to that parent. But if it doesn't have, it will keep going to the parent until it finds one which has a position that is not the default one. It should either be relative or absolute. But since none of these have that, it's going to the actual page. But since I want it relative to this table row, I can simply just add the style here to this row, because this row is looped over and over, and I'm going to say position relative, like so. That way it should be relative to the row. So let's refresh, and now you can see that the display is just ending right where the row starts there. So that is pretty good. And then one more thing I want to do here on details, I want to add some padding of 10 pixels like that. And then the most important thing now is to hide it. So I'm going to create a class here called hide, and then that class I'm going to say display none, like so. And then what do? I will go to the same, let me come down here to this very thing. It has a class of JS order details, and then I will add one more, which is hide. That way it doesn't show. So now I refresh and it doesn't show. So I just want it to show when I click and not all the time. Okay, so we're going to see how to implement that in the next video.